Hi guys, welcome to my second analysis video. Yesterday I played in the London League and this was my first game for the season. I'm going to start off with a walk-in vid, a bit like the Golden Screen. I did actually have a video where I was outside the hotel and I took a video of the surrounding Holborn area, which was very busy due to me trying to get there during commuter time. So I was fighting the sea to get to the venue. Unfortunately, the automatic doors, automatic, they switched into manual for some unknown reason. So I had to wait at reception to be let back in. So I had to stop the video. So I started the video from outside the playing room, which I'll play now. So you can watch that, and I'll comment when I stop talking. Because I talk about the match, but then when I go into the room to show the players, I don't say anything. So I will do a little bit of talking then to fill in the silence / the organizer trying to tell everyone what to do, and I'm just strolling around the room. But anyway, without further ado, let me play that video.
Hi guys, welcome to the video I said I'd do. This is the walk-in vid for the London Chess League. I've got a match tonight in the second division for our second team with the Mushrooms. It's a great team name. And I should also mention we're looking for players, so if anyone fancies some over the board chess, now is your chance. Just drop me an email. Tonight there's Division 1 matches as well, and I've spotted a few celebrities. There's Luke McShane, Jonathan Spillman, some other GMs. You can name them yourselves when you see them. Give yourself a little challenge. I've been told the playing hall is quite cramped, but I've had a look and it looks fine to me. Actually quite a lot of space, and someone keeps mentioning free coffee, so I'll be having some of that as well. Depending on how my game goes, I'll be tacking that on to the end of this video, so fingers crossed for me. But next minute I'm going to walk into the room and then I'll try and show you the GMs. I'm not sure if they're going to be a bit funny about it, so we'll soon find out, but I'm just going to go in now and we'll have a look. So I'm not going to talk anymore, I'm just going to go into the room, show you around, and then end the video. So cheers guys.
So it's tagged me in, I can now do some talking. This is my team here on the right, this is my team here, the super team is along here. It takes me a while to realise where they are, so bear with as I stroll around. I'm looking for Luke McShane, who's actually here. That's Luke McShane. It's my team again. Okay, here comes some GMs. Spillman, Neil McDonald, I am Graham Buckley, lady who just stood up and sitting there, Sophie Millet, sorry, she's the current French women's champion. It's my teammate waving at me. Here's the most important part, the free coffee, which is situated all around them. Actually, there's free coffee over there as well, and there's free water at the back. You should hope it will be free. Then I realised that Luke McShane is actually down the other end of the room. Off I drop. In a minute you're going to see my captain wave at me and say, do you realise you're playing here? I'll point out in a second. But there's Luke McShane, and there's my captain. So
hi guys.
Let me stop that. Get back into the game. Hang on. There we go. I know I have to do a little bit of playing with this. There we go. So this is the game. My opponent was similarly rated to me. It's a very complicated game. London system for my opponent. I've never played against the London system before. I know that sounds crazy, but it does happen. You can go through a long time before you actually face something. And I was always had in the back of my mind I was going to try the Leningrad Dutch against it, because I think the bishop on g7 would be very useful. And the opening, funny enough, will go according to plan. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but there's a couple of moments in this game where the game goes up and down very much, which is normal chess. I mean, the computers will go wild. So I'm going to make sure that I put the computer on at the right moments to explain some of the more tactical parts of this game, because obviously my opponent and I can only see so much because we're not machines. So the game starts off. There we go. So it's looking like the London system. It's not a London system yet, but I already had a sneaking suspicion. I don't know why. Why is this computer eval on? I'm going to turn this off because for now it's not important. I can hide it. Okay, cool. I'll bring it back later on when it's necessary. But for now, you're just going to have to listen to my ramblings as I explain what's going on. Now, d6 is the start of the Leningrad Dutch. It can revert back. You can play e6 and play the classical. The only variation I'm not really playing here is the Stonewall, which is e5, d5. Now, with d6, you're looking to play an early e5. So you play g6, put your bishop on g7, put your queen either on e8 or e7, and you try and push the e-pawn, you know, knight c3, c6. Gosh, I'm so bad at coordinates. I'm amazed I know how the pieces move. So that's the point of d6. So I want to move. Now this move, fair enough. It probably is best, but the London system says put your bishop here, so I'm hoping my opponent's already slightly over optimistic anyway, because I've given him some really big light squares here, with potential of the knight dropping in too, so I've got issues on these two squares basically. But to start with, you know, there's no way that I can be busted this early, so we'll just block that. And my opponent went into a little bit of a think here. Now he was thinking, oh, I must punish him because of e6 is weak. I'm sure that's what he thought. So he drops his knight in straight away, and I defend the pawn and put the queen where I want the queen to be anyway, because remember I'm after e5. Now e5 at any point around now is just stupid, because obviously I'm letting him have this square again, so he can put his knight or his bishop in there, probably the bishop, and he just come back. I can't castle. It's a bit of a mess. I'm not going to play e5 anyway, because it's just it's dumb. Just because you've set yourself up to play a move doesn't mean you need to play it. But funny enough, that'll come back and haunt me later. I wish that you know, you could just memorize your lessons that you have to learn in your games, but it's very difficult, especially when the clock's ticking and your teammates are crowding around. But you know, that's all part of the fun and game of playing over the board chess in a team match. And this was a 10-ball match. I was down on board 9. I had an awful season last season, so my rating's low. But hopefully for the rest of the season I'll pick it back up again. I used to be up onto like ball 4 or 5. So anyway, a little tangent there. I've defended the pawn. So okay, fair enough. c3. Okay, you can see this is the London system. Those that are familiar with the London system, if you've ever watched anything of Simon Williams, this will look familiar to you. c3 also allows his queen now to come here, again to attack e6 and put pressure on b7 as well. So I need to deal with that threat basically. I don't really. I probably could. I'm not 100% sure. I probably could play knight c6. I think I was a little bit concerned about it just being pinned, or queen a4, or because obviously I'd love to be able to sort the two pieces out with the knight, and then even then he can just go here with check. So I thought I'd avoid all that, and I'll just kick away the knight that, let's face it, is a pain in the backside. This h6 also gives me a chance to expand on the king side. Those that have watched me online know I do like to push all the pawns in front of my king. And if we have a quick look at the computer eval here, you see that I've completed the opening successfully, as in it's a slight edge for me, but nothing special. But the point is, the Dutch has held up well to the London system's opening moves. So let's just turn that off again. Goodbye computer, we will meet again. So he has to drop the knight back, which he does. It's the right move. So I get on with my development. I'm obviously going to have to play my bishop to g7. It's not going to be going anywhere else. I've got to defend the h6 pawn, so it'd be silly to even consider anything else. and I do need to get castled so I can decide if I'm even going to send my queenside pawns down the board. I'm not sure yet. Depends where he's castling. So he develops. There's no threat of e4 yet, but I have to be aware of e4. E4 is always a move that you have to watch out for in the Dutch. I castle, and this move is dual-edged. One, I feel like I'm developing quicker going this way, but I also want to line up my rook with his bishop, because in lots of lines where people play e6, they forget about this bishop. Not forget, but it becomes more awkward for them to make the e4 break when they have to deal with the bishop as well when it's on free, because obviously if you play e4, lots of things are going to get swapped here. So my f file is suddenly open. Oh, sorry, he's not going to play that. That's a blunder. So he plays queen c2. There's lots of dual moves in this. It's both of us. I think by the end of the game we're exhausted because there's a lot of complicated. Well, to us, complicated variations. I mean, obviously the computer sees through it like it's a sheet of glass, but we don't. We see it as a muddy pond, which just kept getting muddier. Now, the reason I say this is dual is because it's attacking down this diagonal, so I've got to watch out for this pawn that's on pre, the only thing that's on pre in my position at the moment. And also e4 again is a potential. As I've said previously, the threat on this bishop for now is going to be enough to stop any e4. So the only thing I was really worried about is, I could drop this, and also, not being funny, but this pawn is pinned. This bishop's useful on this diagonal, so it was quite natural for me to play my next move, which is move the king out of the way from the pin, and also defend g6. Now, I was. It's funny when you're in two minds. I almost went to h8, but I think I do need to defend this pawn in lots of lines. Perhaps the knight will get back here, and then this will be really weak. My king's not at least defending it once. For now, this is quite a strong defensive formation, so I don't have to worry too much about this just yet. But it comes into it later in the game, as you can imagine. So this is the key moment for him. He's got two choices: kingside or queenside. Kingside, I've been very, very happy. I would have been playing g5 very shortly and not really thinking much further than crushing him on the kingside. He castles queenside, and I was like, this guy, he's watched some Simon Williams stuff. And that is a natural move anyway. I've started moving pawns on my kingside. It's pretty flexible though, my pawns over there. I'm not too disappointed. Again, if we have a quick look at the computer, I'm not sure it's going to say too much difference in I'll get it in a minute. Too much difference in, there we go. So still pretty level. Only level though. Obviously this position is not a draw. You know when computers say that it's 0.14, you think, it's level, so perfect play. That's never going to happen. Not in this position. Not with opposite side castling. So let's turn Compy up again. Bye bye Compy. So I need to decide what I'm going to do. Obviously I need to attack him on the queen side, so bishop d7. I'm controlling b5. Might be able to push the pawn, gain a tempo on this bishop, and get on with my attack. And he does the same. Straight away, I'm not worried about h5. I know I'm not worried about h5 because I have a response, which is g5. So for now, I'm not worried. That means the bishop has to move back. It'll take a long time for him to work his next break, and hopefully during that time I can send my pawns down the board. So my initial concern about h4 is I'm not concerned yet. So I get on with my plan. I'm going to rush you on the queen side if you're going to rush me on the king side. He drops the bishop back, it's a sensible move. Now here I had a choice between a5 and c5. And probably other moves too. I could have played it, but it's not really a move I like too much. I could have played knight c6 and sacrificed this pawn. He could then take it, but then I would have had one of the rooks swing over to the b file. And in hindsight, I think I probably should have played that. But maybe even if I play knight here, perhaps d5 is actually quite good here. I was on d5. No, I can't play d5. I'll just take it. Yeah, so potentially I should have just sacked this pawn straight away. On another day I would. It's funny. It just depends on what mood you're in. But yeah, I think considering how I know how the game went, I think knight c6 and an attempt to sacrifice this pawn was probably a lot stronger. But I thought I was being clever, as I always do when I'm playing chess. Unfortunately, it's a big problem of mine. I need to start just playing principled moves. There's nothing wrong with knight c6. Just develop, just do it. It's silly not to. I mean, other things it's controlling this square, so maybe I can play b5 straight away. And I get a bit carried away with pawn storms. So my move I chose, c5, makes some sort of sense if he ever lets me take. He's not taking back with a knight because of the fork. He's not going to take with the c pawn because I'll have rook here, and then I'll get something on this file, be a piece probably because he can block. But and if he takes with the pawn, then I just have b4 and not have any worries about it being taken or not. And either way, if I take him, then he'll only have 2 pawns in front of his king. So that was my thinking behind it. But I've ignored something very principal here. Is the first response is he can take me, and I was, superficially I'm thinking, he takes, I take, great, my C and B pawn are just gonna charge down the board quicker than his G and H pawn. But I am giving up a vital square. I'm giving up d5, which my opponent quite tastily drops his knight in. And that's something I've learned. As I say, I don't know every single variation of the Dutch. I've only been playing it for a year. I am definitely on the learning side of it, and this part of the game, I've learned a lot, even though it's painful for me. So he takes, and he takes the square. I mean, that knight's fantastic there. He's attacking g6. He can swap off a defender of this diagonal. Remember I was saying about this diagonal along here, so he can swap that off. He's got some sort of control on c6. It's a decent knight, and very hard for me to move. I'm also, say I play an innocuous move, say I just get gung ho, play a4. This is just a move that you may play if you're not thinking. At least I was concentrated to this point because I think h5 here is really strong. Just taking it, I'm opening up the h file. He's just going to double up, and I'm going to have a lot of trouble. If I ignore it and push it, then we've got knight coming in with a fork, and it's just not nice for me. I don't know what the material swap will be at the end of this, but it's not going to be good. And the net result is my king's going to be very open with his bishop and queen coming down. It's not a good place for me. So I'm already know I've gone very wrong allowing knight e5. But say benefit of hindsight, it never happened. So here I thought I was being a little bit clever at least. And I just moved my rook out of the way because I'm thinking, well, now if you play your pawn down, I'm just going to play g5 and I'll be fine. There's no problems here. And it's always nice to have your rook lined up with a king and queen. This always looks. I'm going to draw an arrow because it's important. It's just nice. You want that, especially when you've got a B and C pawn that can attack as well. So if we were going to be like really superficial, the only thing that's bad in my position, you'd say, is just this knight. If we were just going to concentrate on one piece, because even this rook's not that bad, because I could play a4, a5 and get on the attack that way, and the rook's probably well placed for that. But the knight itself is doing nothing, and also at some point you've got to watch this diagonal. It's amazing how many times you can be caught, especially with light square pieces on the board where this is undefended, and it's maybe not easy to get your knight out of the way. So if the knight was developed earlier, I wouldn't have this issue. But unfortunately, while I'm concentrating on this area here, g4 is a great move, and obvious as well. And I don't know why my danger-ometer just switched off, and I was only focused here. like I say, this was like, it wasn't deep. I didn't do any sort of proper calculations past this part. I didn't then asset. My generalization of the position wasn't good enough. I wasn't looking for this move. So when it happened, though I'm sure you're all screaming and saying it's obvious, it was a big shock to me because I think part of the players at my level, we get very focused on certain aspects of the game. I'm not saying we can't see tactics or anything like that, because that's just not true. And you've seen me do some decent tactics at points in my online career. But the ability to just disassociate yourself from your plan and looking at your opponent's plan, even though you know about it, you have to do that every move, and it is tough. Like I say, with the clock ticking and people around you, and you're thinking about match situations, it's not that easy. So here I'm terrified of G5, because he's just going to open up the position massively, and he can do that because he can attack the knight, and I don't really have much of a chance to move anything other than the knight once he plays G5, because I'm just going to lose a piece. So I took the piece out of the situation. Now that's good, but it's also bad because it's a defender disappearing from my position, and my opponent makes his first miss, if you like. I'm sure you guys know what the follow-up should be. My opponent took the pawn, which is tempting because you're attempting to get some pressure down the G file. But in this sort of position, I mean, I'm just getting ripped to pieces after this. This is all just too powerful. I mean, everything's coming down this way. I'm just toast here. I'd be close to resigning, to be honest. It's just everything's falling to pieces. If I play G5, knight takes bishop, queen takes, pawn takes, the position's completely collapsing. But my opponent's not a computer, so he played what looks good, and it does look good. I think he may have slightly underestimated me just taking back with the e-pawn, because at least now I'm attacking this knight. Gosh, if I could get rid of this knight, I'd be the happiest guy. I might actually be getting somewhere. But his follow-up move is very decent, and it also has a dual threat again. Like, you just got to keep this knight. This knight is just fantastic. It's basically winning the game for him at the moment. And now I'd love to play something like c4 to get this bishop off this diagonal, because this diagonal is killing me. But he can just take it, because takes, I take back. It doesn't matter, rook or hang on a minute. Let's have a look. Let's see what would have happened if I'd done it. Oop, not that one. Let's have a quick look. This is what this analysis is about. So if he takes, the reason is because his knight's on free. But what if I take the bishop first? Let's have a look. Computer, help me. Save me. It's +1. Because, are you going to tell me why? It's going to line on and go. Because knight takes f4, which is what I was saying. E takes f4. B takes c. So B takes c best. And then simply, yeah, h5 again. I'm just, yeah, position collapse. I've got no attack on his king. He's got free attack on me. I'm just getting destroyed. So that's. I mean, I didn't play c4 because I just didn't see it. I just saw he'd take the pawn and he'd be on my knight. So superficial calculation once more. But I did see a sneaky move in the position, which was thankful, because obviously I lined this up for a reason, and the reason was because I did see this little cheapo. Now this line is really complicated as well. Obviously the computer's still saying I'm busted, which is fine, but we'll come back to computer in a minute. And I want to stress that it doesn't matter that the computer says +3 to him or 2.5 or whatever it is, or if it's +3 or 2.5 to me. This is a game between two humans, and people make mistakes in complicated situations. Computers will just see through it, like I said before. So don't get disheartened, even in a bad position. Just keep fighting. Like I say, there's little tricks everywhere. This one's quite pretty. He can't take the knight. I'm going to get a lot of play for it. I mean, I'll play for a little bit. If he takes, I take. Well, he's obviously losing his queen if he doesn't block. Block with a bishop, and then I attack that bishop. And here, I mean, the computer, I think, says it's level, but that's good because I was minus 2.5 a minute ago, right? So I've got myself out of trouble for a little tricky tactic. We'll just check the computer score. I'm pretty sure it's going to say that. Yeah, okay, so he's still got an edge, but it's only 0.5 now. So I'm obviously back in the game, whereas previously I was in big trouble and my king side's getting absolutely slaughtered. But you know, he's good enough to see that. He didn't take. He played the right move, which is queen b1. Let's take the computer off again. Bye computer. Thanks for coming. See, if I knew I was minus 2.5 here in the game, I would have probably resigned. Not resigned, but you know, my head would have gone down. I would have been. I've got no hope in this position. This is why, you know, some people have suggested that, you know, it'd be nice to have computer evals while people are playing chess, but it'd just be pointless. They don't tell you the moves, but they just say you're worse or you're better, and that's not good, because the person who's worse will always crumble. It's a psychological situation. But here, I'm not busted. I can't see him checkmating me straight away, so I feel okay. I know I'm worse. I definitely know I'm worse. So we've got a terrible knight. And his knights are fantastic, but I'm just about to get rid of one of his attackers, so you know, things are looking up in my world. Queen takes, best move, controls the d file. He's also attacking my light square bishop, so he defended twice, it's attacked 3 times, so I'm never getting rid of this dark square bishop, and even then it just, like I say, this knight replaces itself. It's like a replicant, a terminator that you can't destroy. So I move my bishop. I'm no longer defending the b pawn. I knew this. I am attacking the a pawn, but I can't take it. I think it's a very tricky line. And he does take the pawn, which he is a pawn up now, and his position is still very nice. But he has opened the b file, and you've got to take small positives, even if they're not even true. Maybe that's just a free pawn, and you know, he's laughing his head off. But if I can ever get my knight out of the way. Nowhere yet, because it's obviously been completely checkmated by the pieces around it. But if it ever gets out and I get to play rook, either of the rooks to b8, at least in Miracle Land there could be some sort of tactics happening on c3. You know, I can get this pawn out of the way, maybe queen a3, who knows. I'd have chances basically. So when he took here, I was like, it's probably the right move, but at the same time, greedy. And as I said earlier in the video, I should have given this pawn up a long time ago by just playing knight c6. If my knight was here, I'd be swapping off this knight now. This knight would never be a problem. So you know, I've learned my lesson the hard way. I play a5, the only move to get my knight out. Now my knight has a square. I can come back to c2 to block this bishop. Oops, sorry, this bishop, which is currently attacking b8 if the knight ever moves. So then I'll potentially be able to bring in a rook and get on with what I just discussed. Let's get rid of the arrows. And then my opponent played a move that shocked me. I was like, oh, what's this? Is this because I played knight b4 against you? You feel like you think you know tactics? Well, check this out. Well, if I responded, you know, I got 2 king moves, so you know this wasn't too hard to calculate. But king here, instant loss. Lose the queen. Yeah, that's bad. So that was easy to spot. So the next thing to work out was king here. Now with king here, it still takes the pawn, and I guess if I want to be greedy, I put the queen in because I'm attacking this knight, and this pawn is also attacking this. Now what was the problem with this? I know there's something bad about this. I need some help. Computer, help me. I know this was bad. Knight takes e6, that's it. Yeah, just getting absolutely destroyed. It's just sad. It's really sad. So say I take the the knight. He then follows up with d6. I'm just getting trashed basically. Computers plus 6, 7. Oh my god! Right, so just getting destroyed. So let's get rid of that. I don't want to close that. I want to keep that. How do I just hide you? Hide away. Hide. No. Hide. There we go. Sorry. I'm still learning how to use chess.com. So basically getting thrashed in that line too. So that left special answer number 3, which is just take the knight and hope for the best. I mean, I'll calculate this part, so I felt I was fine at the end of this, and in fact, you know, giving me a piece for a couple of pawns. Believe it or not, I'm still in trouble here. Computer bow, I'm going to do in a minute because I played the right moves. Now, when we got to this point, I was thinking, well, surely I'm doing well here. The queen's going to come off because I'm attacking the knight and the queen. So you'd imagine that queen takes queen was pretty false. We're near the end. Time control was an hour and 15 each for 30 moves, and as you can see, we're at move 24. So we're both a little bit low on time here, and that's always a factor of chess, but especially in the part of the game where it's usually the most complicated. So I was expecting the queens to come off, rook takes, and then okay, I'm a piece up, but my pawns are scattered. He's got decent pawns. He'd have a lot of chances. There's a lot of open lines that he currently has with his rooks. His bishop's very good. So it's still a game, and I think it will say something like he's still just slightly up. Yeah, it's 0.32, which will be, you know, tough for him though, because I find at my level people rather have the extra piece than the pawns. But he did find the second move, which I also saw, and I was just hoping it was bad, and that's this one. He's attacking the rook. So he's set up a high level threat basically, so obviously if I take on e6, he takes my rook. Now here, oh, I didn't play that, that would not do a good, that's not good. Now here, I was feeling so much better. Obviously, when you play chess for long enough, you can feel like, I knew when I was -2, -3, I didn't know the number, but I knew I was in a bad place. But here I know I'm level, if not better, if I can just unwind. So I start unwinding. I play knight here because I wanted to block his queen from anything coming along here as well. And at some point I want to bring a rook over to the b file. I've just got one more problem. It starts with a bishop defending that pawn, and the knight is going here and into here. If I can get to e5, obviously his knight's going to have to move somewhere now. I'm controlling e5, I'm attacking the knight. So, knight goes back. And I block the e file. So I'm ready for my coup de grace. I'm basically, in my head, winning now. He throws in g6, and I'm thinking, okay, good for you. What's so special about that? But you know, considering what happens later on, but I pretty much ignored it. I thought it was just wasting time, and maybe he was making a square for his bishop on g5. I don't know. Bishop g5 and hopefully rook d8 at some point. I don't know, but I've blocked diagonal, so I'm happy bunny here. I mean, gosh, look at me go. Rook is attacking the b pawn. I'm going to gain time with the queen. The queen's going to be misplaced wherever it goes, so I don't have to worry about this square at all. I'm just happy, and this is where a computer always beats a human, because there's a trick in the position. And okay, now I've told you there's a trick in the position, you might be able to find it, but if we're not hitting time control yet, we're on move 27 before 30. My opponent actually has a lot less time than me here. I think he only had about 4 minutes, and I had maybe 10, maybe 15 actually. I can't remember exactly. But the computer is just about to demonstrate an amazing line for a draw. But you just wouldn't. This kind of move you just don't see as a human. See, look, saying no, 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 no. Look at this was spectacular. Sack your queen, lovely jubbly. King takes. bishop check. If you play king back, which is a natural square, dead. Knight takes s5. Amazing. I'm absolutely busted here. He's threatening. It's not mate yet, but it's coming. Yeah, there's a rook here. Check. This is the threat. So I'm basically busted. There's probably knight h6 check. I don't know. Knight d6 is a fork there too. So completely dead. So that's one problem. The reason it's a draw is because I can come to this square. The computer's changing its mind. No, it's not. It's not changed my it's not even g7 check. That's not even the draw. The draw is just this. And I just have to shuffle my king backwards and forwards. G7 is just slightly worse. This is a dead draw. I have nothing better than putting my king back, and he just keeps checking with the bishop, so he sacks his queen. But obviously that would have been amazing, and there's probably some title players that would have spotted that. So tactical geniuses everywhere in the title world. But there you go. So I would never have ever expected queen takes g7. But it's quite logical, isn't it? I mean, it's a forcing move. They say that you should always look at checks first, and that is a check. And I would have been well impressed by my opponent had he found it. But he didn't, because we're only human after all, as the song goes. So the queen came back to g2. Let me turn that off before it tells us all the right moves. We don't want to know. I'm sure you do want to know. Well, I played a very natural move here. I'm threatening checkmate. I couldn't be happier here, considering I've been suffering the whole game to get to this position. My teammates were coming over about this point, and I'm pretty sure they were, oh yeah, Jack's winning. I thought I was winning too, and I am winning. There's no way of you don't need to guess. I am definitely winning here. I'm a piece up, and I'm on the attack. And I start playing a little bit inaccurate, but we'll see. So f3 defends the b pawn, so there's no mate. But now I'm thinking, well, if I can ever sack my bishop here, pawn takes, and then obviously queen checkmate. Well, it's going to be check. Well, it wins the queen, sorry, with the rook coming up afterwards. Check. King somewhere. Maybe not, but either or, I'm definitely crashing through. Maybe just knight here instead. I choose a slightly different route because I thought I was getting all this anyway. I just got to get my rook out of the way because I want the bishop to attack down this diagonal. So I tried. Obviously he's going to take that. I was fine here with that. I was thinking, yeah, takes. He'd take on b8, but he didn't. This is a problem with in between moves. Had he taken on b8 straight away, I may have taken here check first. And then taking the bishop. If he's blocked with the queen, great. Queen's come off. I'm in a good place, so I'll be happy with that. Oh, what's going on now? It's a bit slow. Bit slow is better than crashing because I've already done this video twice. So this is the third time lucky video. So I really don't want it to mess up this time. So yeah, he played rook over. I played queen back, keeping the threat on b2. Takes. Queen d2. Now here we've made time control, so I've been given an extra 20 minutes. As has my opponent. And I'm still in control of this position, but it's one of those situations where, because I've convinced myself that I'm winning, my danger signs have switched off, because I'm thinking there's just no way he can get through to this position. All I need to do, and this is what I had in my head, was get my rook to d8 and swap off some more pieces and then just make it easier for myself. And I was thinking, oh, how can I do that? And not really calculating very hard at all, because I was just thinking that he's losing, and this is a problem when you're winning a game of chess. It's not one, you're winning. It's different. Let's see what my plus is here. So I'm +3 here, just to show you why I'm thinking I'm in such a good position. And I play a loose move because I think I'm attacking this knight, and the knight has to go away. And if the knight goes away, then that's great. Then the rook comes in, and I've got what I want. Pieces off side, and rook's coming off, and bishop's taking on a2, and I'm destroying him. And he played this instantly, instantly, and I'm like, so you were looking at this, were you? And then I'm looking at that and going, well, can't I just take it? Surely I can just take it. And I've got to say, a rush of blood to my head. I didn't even consider the right moves. I mean, now I can't block with I can't follow through with my plan because I actually get mated. It's quite a nice mate, I think. Do I get mated? I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I do. Just queen takes, bishop takes, and rook takes. Hang on, is this mate? No, it's not mate, but he wins the queen. That was it. Oh no, I can't go there. What am I doing? Because the pawn's defending. Yeah, this is mate. This is mate because you have to block with the queen and then checkmate. Which would be embarrassing. So my initial plan was just absolute rubbish because I didn't do any calculation. I didn't even consider this. Didn't consider this. It was a great move by my opponent, and it threw me. And I've got to say, my next move was an instant blunder. Just absolutely awful. I'm like, oh, it's fine. You know, I've taken a knight. It's no problem. He's got no threats. Okay, there's a check, but I'll just move my king somewhere. Just dumb lack of calculation. Check, and now I go red face. You know when you go red face, you know you've just completely messed it up. There's no escaping this mate. I can go to, obviously if I go to f8, there's mate. If I go here, if I go to h8, the arrow's a bit slow there, just rook check, and then queen in, and then mate. So I only have one square, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I played on just because you should, just in case your opponent misses something, but he didn't. Check, 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 and I'm just dead here. It's mate in 3, in fact. So I'd gone from fighting well in the opening, messing up the middle game, getting back into it, getting on top, thanks to my opponent getting a bit leery with knight g5 check, though I like it, it was pretty, to being well up and winning again, to losing in one move. But that's chess, and I've got to say, I didn't hang around to analyse with my opponent, so I apologise for that if he ever watches this video. But you know, when you've just basically your team's thinking, oh yeah, I've just chalked up a point for them and everything's going well, but you can just lose it that quickly. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm done now. Hopefully this one will actually work properly, because that, as I say, is my 3rd attempt. But please tune in again. I've got more tournaments coming up, and I intend to do some more analysis. So please like this video if you do like it, or leave a comment, and I'll do more on request, as well as, for now I've got the enthusiasm, so I'll need you guys to keep me going. Right, thanks for now. Bye.